صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين وحجة رب العالمين، المنتجب في الميثاق المصطفى في الضلال المطهر من كل آفة، البرية من كل عيب، المؤمل للنجاة المرتجى للشفاعة المفوض إليه دين الله. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيلة عقيلة الطالبيين زينب الكبرى وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. We started last week a series of lectures, inshallah. This will continue in relation to the signs of the reappearance. Last week, the lecture that we had started was about the Imam Ali والسلام, the avenger himself, and we went through a couple of the ahadith in relation to the avenger. And of course this will continue down the track because we do have many other ahadith in regards to that. Tonight we'll be speaking about a fascinating character that some books have escaped this individual. Others, they see him as a controversial character. Some see him as this is not an individual that you should be speaking about, in a sense that most of the ahadith about this very character, this individual, is not in the books of the Shia. It's actually in the books of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, al-Tirmidhi, and so on and so forth. But you heard of him in the Western media, the Western culture, pop culture, and of course when it comes to the Bible itself, you have heard of this individual, and that is the Antichrist, the Dajjal. In Arabic we refer to him as the Dajjal. I think 2 years ago actually, Netflix made a whole TV show about a character very close to the Antichrist. And they believe that Antichrist will come, he goes against everything that Jesus has put forward. When it comes to the other side, not the Shia side, they draw a picture of him, they illustrate this individual that is blind in one eye and his other eye sees, his left eye doesn't see, his right eye sees, and he has an eye on his forehead. So I don't know if you've seen the Avengers, the movie, the whole series. The last one Doctor Strange had, in the last scene, I think it was after the credit, they show that Doctor Strange comes with the third eye on his forehead, so he can be the Dajjal. So if you look at it, he's a very controversial character, and him coming forward is, in our books, of course, he will appear. We have, of course, many books that talk about alamat al-dhuhur, the signs of the reappearance. For us, because we live in the major occultation, we live in the last days, inshallah, if Allah wills it, that we continue and we move on to alamat al-dhuhur, and then the alamat of the dhuhur, inshallah, we enter the dhuhur period of the Imam, alayhi salatu wassalam, Imam al-Hujjah, peace be upon him. You see that we have books I mentioned last week in regards to that. For example, the book that is very famous by Sayyid Muhammad Kazim al-Qazwini, Imam al-Mahdi min مهدي إلى الظهور. We have another book by Sheikh Ali al-Qurani, علامات الظهور. We have another book by Kamil Suleiman, that is Yom al-Khalas. And tonight I want to go through this one, موسوعة سيرة أهل البيت عليهم أفضل الصلاة والسلام by Sheikh Bakr Sharif al-Qurashi. I mentioned last week about this series of books. This is more than 35 volumes. It's close to 40 volumes that Sheikh Bakr Sharif al-Qurashi has spent. He had spent 50 years compiling this book, authorizing it, writing it down, researching. 50 years, we're talking in a time that we don't have what we have today on Google and so on and so forth. You can go back and forth, that you can find a lot of materials, you can find a lot of ahadith here and there. You don't see that. In those days, you had to travel. You had to go from city to city to find one book that has maybe one hadith that you're looking for. Hence the story of Allam al-Amini, the one who compiled the book Al-Ghadir. Very similar. He spent many years of his life compiling the book. We have Al-Ghadir that used to go from Najaf al-Ashraf all the way to India. And he used to stay in India for months in the libraries, just looking for one hadith here and there, so he can put those hadith into his book Al-Ghadir. And that shows how our scholars, they went through hardship to give us these books. The book that you have today, that you go through it, unfortunately the new generation, they don't appreciate books. They are more on their screens. Because everything is available there, and by press of a couple of, we don't even have buttons now. You just swap right to left, left to right, and you go up and down on the screen. You can find hundreds of books, PDF versions. And that's good. If someone who doesn't have access to a book, this is what a book is. It comes to the age that we show the generation, this is a book, this is what a book is. And those are the papers. Unfortunately, this is becoming a reality. Because you see a 3-year-old today, a 3-year-old, if you give them an iPad, they go back and forth with the iPad and they know so much. But if you give them a book, they have trouble reading a book, unfortunately. So we should appreciate what the ulama have done for us, that you find so many books out there that these ulama spend years and years of their life compiling them. One of them is this, موسوعة سيرة أهل البيت by Sheikh Bakr Sharif al-Qurashi. You can find the English translated version as well. This is volume 35 about Imam al-Hujjah. So if you go to page, this is about the Dajjal, the Antichrist. If you go to page about the Dajjal, page 316, you find a couple of pages about the Dajjal. Inshallah, next week I will continue with this very topic about the Antichrist in other books. Looking into this ahadith, and I will mention the sources of this ahadith. You can see that they're not all from our books, it's from the other school of thought. For example, we have a hadith here. It talks about the Dajjal, the Antichrist. And this is about his buhur, his coming. When does he come? That's another question. How does he look like? What does he do? So some of the hadith of what Dajjal is and who Dajjal is. This is from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hisham bin Amr narrates, سمعت رسول الله, heard the Prophet saying, ما بين خلق آدم إلى قيام الساعة أمر أكبر من الدجال. This is in Uqad al-Durar. And then comes, I read the fascinating ones, the ones that really gets you, some goosebumps. And you go, who really? This is what Dajjal is? روي أنس بن مالك عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أنه قال ما من نبي إلا أنذر أمته الدجال الأعور الكذاب. So here you see, here in this hadith from the Prophet, he narrates that every prophet foretold, warned his people of the coming of the Dajjal, the Antichrist. Al-A'war al-Kadhdhab. A'war meaning the one who doesn't have one eye. He is blind in one eye. Kadhdhab, who is a liar. ألا إنه أعور وإن ربكم ليس بأعور. And he is A'war, meaning he has one eye, and your God is not A'war. What does he say? God, you see white here. مكتوب بين عينيه, and it's written on his forehead, between the two eyes, أنه كافر, that he's kafir, he's an infidel. And then it comes to what this person does from ighwa, astraying people, getting people to go astray, and who ends him. So the hadith is this. This is a long hadith. I'll summarize it. This is from Asma bint Yazid in Sakal قالت كان النبي في بيتي فذكر الدجال. The Prophet was in my house and he mentioned the Dajjal. So this hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. So it's not in our book. It's in the book of Ahl al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. إن بين يديه 3 سنين سنة تمسك السماء فيها ثلث قطرها. So 3 years. 1 year, سماء تمسك قطرها. So there is no rain, drought. والأرض ثلثي نباتها. And the earth takes in all the plants. Just imagine, no rain and no plants. How a person will survive? والثانية تمسك السماء ثلثي قطرها والأرض ثلثي نباتها. So this is another narration saying what the other one's saying. That same, drought and no plants. والثالثة تمسك السماء قطرها كلها والأرض نباتها كلها فلا يبقى ذات ضرس ولا ذات ظلف ولا ذات خف من البهائم إلا هلكت. So what did he say here? So all of the animals, all the cattle, everything dies. Everything dies. وإن من أشر فتنته أنه يأتي الأعرابي فيقول. So he comes. Who comes? The Antichrist. Now people are desperate. When someone is desperate, that's what we saw and we see it even today. They're waiting for who? When someone is desperate, is in need of assistance, who do they wait for? Someone who helps them, someone who assists them. That person can be a God-fearing person who's pious, who has piety, and truly one of the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it can be someone like that, who the Dajjal is mentioned that he is the last of A'immatul Kufr. Last of the A'immatul Kufr. We have A'immatul Huda and we have A'immatul Kufr. How many of A'immatul Huda we have? Imams of Huda? 12 Imams of Huda, from starting from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib and ending with Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu wassalam. And we have A'immatul Dalal wal-Kufr, also 12. The last of them is Al-Dajjal. The last of all A'immatul Kufr wal-Dalal is Al-Dajjal. So here, listen to this part. He says, إنه يأتي الأعرابي فيقول. The Arab camp, the Arabian, the Bedouin comes. أرأيت إن أحييت لك ابنك ألست تعلم أني ربك. So the Bedouin comes and the Antichrist, the Dajjal comes to him and he says to him, if I bring back, I resurrect your ibn, your cattle, would you believe that I'm your God? Who says that? The Antichrist. So of course they are desperate. Drought, nothing, all the animals are dying. فيقول بلى, yes. If you do that, I believe that you are my God, you are my creator. فتمثل الشياطين له نحو إبله كأحسن ما تكون ضروعا وأعظمه أسمنه. So he plays with who? He has hand in hand with Iblis, with Shaitan. Even today, if you look at, for example, some African countries, they do a lot of voodoo magic. And they are so much into voodoo magic. I've seen it once with my eyes, live in front of me. They are so much into it, into voodoo magic, that they can even bring demons. And they do magic, sihr. And sihr, whoever practices sihr is a kafir. Whoever practices sihr. So here, he's a sahir. What is he? A sahir. Sahir, you can call it whatever you want. You can't say magic, someone who practices magic, because magic is not sihr. Witchcraft is more a sihr. Witchcraft is the one that you should be thinking about. And we're not talking about that witchcraft they showed on Disney, the old woman that comes on the broom and she flies away and she makes that kind of a laugh. No, we're talking about someone who sacrifices innocent children. And I've seen it in documentaries that they do that, unfortunately. And they practice so much with magic, and they do so much with voodoo that they are into it. So here, shaitan, or the shayateen in this hadith, it says they play a part with who? With him. With Dajjal. The animal's dead, laying on the ground. The demons, they possess the animal. And they bring up the animal. The animal is dead, being dead for God knows how long. Let's say a month or two. So it might be all carcass, it might be just bones. But what they do is, the demons, they bring everything back. So all the meat comes back, all the fur comes back, all the, everything of the animal comes back. When the Arab, the Bedouin, they see that, فَتَمَثَّلَ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَهُ نَحْوَ إبله كأحسن ما تكون ضروعا وعظمه وأسمنه قال ويأتي الرجل قد مات أخوه. So here, before we go to the other one, the Bedouin, when he sees that, he says, yes, you are my God. So he doesn't do this with the animals, he also goes to the people that have lost what? وَيَأْتِي الرَّجُلْ قَدْ مَاتَ أَخُوهُ وَمَاتَ أَبُوهُ. He comes to people, they have lost their brothers, they lost their fathers. فَيَقُولُ, and he goes to them, he tells them, if I bring back, same thing. أَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ أَحْيَيْتُ لَكَ أَبَاكَ وَأَحْيَيْتُ لَكَ أَخَاكَ أَلَسْتَ تَعْلَمْ أَنِّي رَبُّكَ. If I do that with your father and your brother, if I bring them back to life, would you believe that I'm your God, I'm your creator? فَيَقُولُ بَلَى, yes, I believe that. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهُ الشَّيَاطِينَ نَحْوَ أَبِيهِ وَنَحْوَ أَخِيهِ. And they do the same, the shayateen, the demons. The demons, they possess the deceased, they bring them back. I can't say life, but it shows, illustrated for that person that yes, they are back. So they do that, and they tell the one who witnessed this that he's your God, he's your creator, worship him. This is the Antichrist. As I mentioned, this is in their books. So you see, also in our books, we have some about the Antichrist. Is he a real character, or is he this fictional character? Because even today, we have some people that say, well, the Antichrist, the Dajjal is the phone. That's what the Dajjal is. And why do they refer to him as the Antichrist? Because he goes against everything the Christ, Isa, has taught. They also call him Al-Masih. We'll come to some of his title, or what they call him. So, this is what they say to him. Yes, we believe that you are our Lord and our God. And we have more than that he first comes and he says, I'm your prophet. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says to his people, to his companions, his ummah, no prophet comes after me. No prophet comes after me. And the Prophet again, he says, he promotes himself. He says, one day I'm your prophet, people, they believe him, and we say how many they follow him. Big number of people. Even today, you see some people, unfortunately, they follow here and there. If you go on YouTube, and you write about these so-called gurus, the gurus. They have them in India, and they, unfortunately, with giving some money here and there, they get so much of followers. One of them, I forgot his name, escaped me right now. This person, he was in India. He had a big, large number. In India, there is more than 300 religions. One of the religions that was out there a couple of years ago was a person, and he died. Alhamdulillah, he died. He started worshipping Donald Trump. Yes, he had a picture of Donald Trump, and he said, this is my God. And people, they came. They were bringing milk, they're bringing some seed for the animals, for the birds, and they start worshipping Donald Trump. The other ones, they worshipped, they had the idea of and it's still there. There's a temple in India where they worship rats. They worship rats. There is a big pool right in the middle of this temple that they say this originally was a castle belonged to a princess. That her son, when he passed away, she asked the god Shiva or some other god for her son to be resurrected. So her god resurrected her son, but he didn't come back as a human being, came back as a rat. So they have a big pool right in the middle of this temple / castle. They put a lot of milk in it for the rats to come and eat. And you see, Islam is a big blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So this guru, he was in India, and what this guru did was he started taking a lot of money from people and distributing to some to get some followers. The Indian government, they kicked him out. He went out of India, he found some island somewhere, and he claimed the island for himself, and he called himself God. He's still alive. You can find his videos on YouTube. Every day he has a whole lecture, and he talks about, the universe, and if you listen to 10, 20 hours of that, you don't get anything, you don't catch anything, not even a small bit of knowledge right there. Just, we say in Arabic, kalimat musaffaha, or musattaha ala ba'd. I mean, what they put word on word, and you make a tower of it. There is no meaning for it. Or they have these ones that are still in India, where they eat the rotten flesh of a human being. That if you want to reach a higher status of immortality, spirituality, you have to eat rotten flesh of a human being. And every one of them, they walk around, and you can see them, the monks or the gurus, they walk around, and they have not one, not two, but 3 to 4, and even more of the human skulls. And they drink from they eat from and they all have the idea that the only food you should consume is rotten food, not fresh, must be rotten. And as Tajirullah, this shows you that if you're not on the right path, you end up like this. So Antichrist is the last of all of this bunch. Now, if you come to the ahadith, there are many ahadith in regards to that individual. Now you can, think that he might be really truly blind in one eye, or he might be just the one who deviates others. That might be the reason they call him that. So if you come to his alqab, وَلَمْ يَتَّضِحْ لَنَا اسْمُ الْأَعْوَرِ الدَّجَّالِ. There is no specific name. It's not mentioned here. So it doesn't come with a picture and a name saying this is the one. So be careful. If you see him, don't follow him. That's what scares us. You see this book, when it talks about the Sufyani and the Yamani and the Khurasani, and now here talking about the Dajjal, it can be anyone. And everyone is different with their mindset. Some people are very simple-minded. Very simple-minded. I bring back your animal, believe that I'm your God. Yes, the demon. Hey, this person, if you tell me this is a demon possessing this animal, like the ones you might say, when did this happen? If you look into our book, Quran al-Kareem, in the Holy Book, this happened one back with the Samiri, the Dajjal. Samiri, he did the same. He, after saw Moses, alayhi salatu wasalam, he went into the mountains, and Moses told his people that I'm going to be there for 30 days, but Allah said to him, stay for 40. He stayed extra more days. When he came down, he saw that the Jews, the Bani Israel, They're worshipping the Ajal. Ajal is what? A goat. He came to his brother, and this is in Quran Kareem. He took his beard and he said to him, why didn't you stop them? Harun. Even though Harun is older than Musa, Musa was much stronger. And Musa is known to be hot-tempered. Musa. He said, brother, calm down. I couldn't. Big number. He came to Samari. He said, oh Samari, what's your story? Why are you doing this? He said, you remember when we were passing, going through, crossing the sea? I saw the messenger. And he's talking about the Archangel Jibreel. So I took the dirt from under the feet of him, or under the feet of the horse that he was riding on. I took it, that dirt, that turab, and I kept it with me. When you left, I saw them going astray. So just imagine, I saw them going astray. So I told them, this is your God, the God of Musa and Harun. So worship him. So Samari and who? Dajjal. Samari, if you go back to it for a minute and you highlight there, just underline it for a minute. Samari saw the Archangel Jibreel. What does that mean? That means he had reached the highest spirituality with his ibadah, worship, and his belief. Do you see Jibreel now? You don't see Jibreel. But he saw him. Yet he deviated all these people. He built this ajal, his goat, and he threw this dirt into him. The ajal made some sound. Or we call this a magic trick. So Bani Israel, they saw that, they all went down in worship. So if they see today Steve Jobs with a phone, they worship Steve Jobs. Because he has a phone in his hand and he can show you some, Mr. Beast videos on YouTube. And that's the problem. That's all it is. With Sa'ma, the same thing with the mind of the people. We have simple-minded people, unfortunately. وَلَمْ يَتَّضِحْ لَنَا اسْمُ الْعَوْرَ الدَّجَّالِ. So we don't know his name. فَقَدْ عَرَفَ لَقَبْ بِلَقَبِهِ. And he's known by his laqab. Yes? By his title. وَمِنَ الْقَابِ الْأُخْرَى الْمَسِيحِ. He's known as Al-Masih. والسبب في لقبه هذا اللقب أمور. إنه ممسوح العين. He's known as Al-Masih because he's blind in one eye. Number two, إنه يمسح الأرض بقطعها أو يطوفها كلها. And he's also known for that because Masih is the one who goes around the world, travels from one place to another. And if you watch this Netflix, I forgot the name of the TV show. The Messiah might be? Yeah, the Messiah, I think. Yeah, the Messiah. Don't watch it, I'm not promoting it, but I watched it myself just to see, because everyone was talking about it. Oh, see, Netflix has bringing, because as I told you in the beginning of the lecture, the idea or just the conversation about the Dajjal is very controversial. People, as soon as they mention it, oh, this guy is promoting it. Oh, it's very, be careful. So when Netflix made that, everyone was talking about Netflix. How could they do such a thing? And it was, I think, the Messiah, as you mentioned, and he was going around. The first thing he did was what? He went to the borders of Palestine and Israel. They call it Israel, but it's all Palestine anyway. So he goes there and he takes the Palestinians, he goes to them, go and stay here. So the first thing he mentions and he goes about to solve is about the idea of the Palestinians. Because this is a problem that is going to continue. It's not going to end with a ceasefire or anything like that. It will continue. That's what Masih is. He goes around. That's why he's called Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Masih al-Dajjal, the Antichrist. And Dajjal meaning what? Dajjal meaning the one who lies, who betrays. Dajjal. That's what Dajjal is. The one who does what? The one who practices witchcraft. That's Dajjal. His kunya is Abu Yusuf, Amir al-Salam, أو إليه فتى كرست. لقبه بذلك ولقب بذلك من اليهود. So I mentioned why the Jews have a big part in this and where he's from. He's also known as Al-Ra'is, the leader. And he's also known Al-Nasara, or he's known as Al-Ra'is by the Nasara. And he's also known as Al-Dictator, dictator. And his awsaf, إنه أعور al-ayn al-yusra. And his characteristics are these. One eye, blind. أعور العين اليمنى كأن عينه علبة طافئة. And in the other one says no, he's blind on the other eye, the right eye. What else? And of course here there is a hadith, this is a long one, I'm not going to go through it. This is a hadith that is not in our books that talks about he was very tall, his face is very wide, and in the end, Sheikh Bakr Sharif al-Qurashi, God bless his soul, he says, no, this is not a characteristics of a human being. This is something different. It may be an alien, what they mentioned. So he's like about 100 feet tall, his face is about 50 feet, just very crazy narration here, but we're not going to mention that. We come to the part about his junood. First and first, before his junood, where is he from? And originally he comes from which Abrahamic religion? Where is he from? He's from Iran. From which city of Iran? Isfahan. And he is what? A Jew. Originally a Jew. So from Isfahan, and he's Jewish. Okay? So here we mentioned Isfahan, because if you look at the numbers of people, it's Jewish. Most of the Jews, they live in Isfahan. Even today, they live in Isfahan. Even though they don't, large number of people, they don't big in number, the Iranian parliament has given them I think they have one member of parliament. The Iranian government has given them that you can have a member in the parliament, even though your number is not that great, but you can have it. And they have synagogues all over. They have synagogues in Tehran, in Isfahan. Most of them, they live in Isfahan. And again, when it comes to the Jews, even New York, in Melbourne, in Victoria, they control either the diamond industry, the gold industry. Here in Isfahan, they control the antique industry. And of course, as they have shown this, and I don't believe in all of them, they have, when they talk about the boycotting these companies, the Israeli-owned company, or they have affiliation with the Israeli government, they have listed almost all companies around the world. There's nothing left. I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, it's just the moon and the sun left. Everything. And I don't believe that. Anyway, so how many people they follow him? This is a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. Al-Dajjal أول من يتبعه 70,000 من اليهود. 70,000 of the Jews, they follow him. So 70,000, what kind of people are these? Are they rightful, God-fearing, pious people? Definitely not. ليصبحن الدجال أقوام يقولون إنا لنصبحه أو لنعلم أنه كافر ولكن نصحبه لنأكل من طعامه. They know he's a kafir. They know what he is. But he said that we follow him because we want to eat. As I mentioned, it's drought, hard timing. ونرعى من الشجر, so we can get some plants, some shajar, some trees. So 70,000. 70,000 of who? Look at the people they follow him. 70,000 of, unfortunately, the hadith says that he makes all of zina green light. Do it as much as you want. Zina, it's fine. فيبيح الزنا واللواط وسائر المناهي حتى يباشر الرجال النساء والغلمان في أطراف الشوارع عراة وعلانية ويفرط أصحابه من أكل لحم خنزير. So everything is fine. Do whatever you want. When you got, so all adultery, fine. All homosexuality, fine. Eating pork, fine. Drinking alcohol, fine. All right. And these people, unfortunately, they are what? They are these 70,000. They are أولاد حرام. أولاد حرام. There are women, they live in the streets. Men, they live in the streets. Desperate people. Homeless. And you might say, this is not going to happen now. If you look at it right now, 2023, look at downtown San Francisco, California, United States, downtown San Francisco. Just look at some images there. Zombies walking down the streets. We're not talking about the traditional zombies. No. We're talking about people high on meth, high on crystal, high on heroin, Mr. Jeremiah. And they're just walking down the streets. Homeless. You go up, a couple of streets up, you see people that are nude. And no one can say anything to them. That's their freedom of speech. Do whatever you want. And it's right there. The hadith says that these people, 70,000 of them, they are magicians, they are musicians, they are awlad haram, there are people that live on the streets, homeless people, and so on and so forth, from the 70,000 that they follow him. So, you want to know how he ends? What's the ending of this Dajjal? Yes. So, the Dajjal comes after the Sufyani, not before, but after the Sufyani. So, the Sufyani is 100%. The Sufyan has to come for the Imam to come, the Yamani, the Sufyani, the Khurasani. And which one is the best to follow? The Yamani. Sufyan is a no, definitely not. The Yamani is the best of all of the righteous people. So when he comes, there is a long hadith of Imam Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Talib. Next week, inshallah, I'll go through the hadith, but I like to mention this before I end, how the ending of this individual is. So, Awlad al-Zana, they follow him. 70,000 of the Jews, they follow him. And this whole number of people, they follow him. What is the ending of that individual? Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu wassalam, he raises an army and he goes to war with the Dajjal and who? The 70,000. So Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu wassalam, who accompanies Imam al-Hujjah? Who's with Imam al-Hujjah? One of the people that is with Imam al-Hujjah and he prayed behind the Imam when the Imam appeared is Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam. And the Dajjal, the Antichrist is against an enemy of Isa ibn Maryam in the books of the people, the Bible and so on and so forth. So the Imam commands Isa ibn Maryam to end the Dajjal. And of course, Isa ibn Maryam, he enters with a large number of soldiers by the command of the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, and he ends the Dajjal. So next week, inshallah, I'll go through some detailed hadith about this individual from other books, and how many of them I just gave you a glimpse of who this person is. There are many other hadith, fascinating hadith about this individual, inshallah, next week. We have a whole hadith from Imam Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wassalam, about this individual. He comes. There are a lot of people, unfortunately, they go astray by him. A lot of people who unfortunately, they follow this individual, even though they know. They say, we know he's a kafir, we know he's a liar, we know he's a person who is practicing magic, practicing witchcraft, but we are hungry. Even today, you see people that follow the one who can provide them some, sustenance, some food, some essentials. And that's what happens in end of time. That is why Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says that always recite in this time and onward and forward the dua, the small dua, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على ذكرك اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم عجل فرجه سهل مخرجه اجعلنا من انصاره واعوانه يا رب العالمين اللهم اجعل عواقب امورنا خيرا يا رب العالمين. الفاتحه قبلها الصلاه على محمد واله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.